Welcome to Life in Calgary, Alberta. I'm your host, Patrick Murray. Is Calgary less expensive? Stay tuned as I discuss 3 important factors that make Calgary much less expensive than other major Canadian centers. But before I do that, if this is your first time in this channel and you want to know everything there is about what it's like to eat, sleep, breathe, live and play in Calgary, Alberta, then guys, just hit that subscribe button and click that little bell so you get notified every single time I release a new video. Now guys, I've lived in a number of different cities in my adult life, but you know what? I moved to Calgary in 2001 and it stuck. I stayed, and the reason why is because it's a great city. But not only have I been here since 2001, I've been a realtor here since 2010, and that means I've got some specialized knowledge about the city of Calgary itself and the surrounding bedroom communities such as Chestermere, Airdrie, Okotoks, and Cochrane. So if you are considering a move to Calgary or one of these bedroom communities and you would like some assistance to purchase a home, feel free to reach out to me. My information is below. Send me a text, an email, a phone call. I will absolutely get back to you. Okay guys, let's get into this. Is Calgary less expensive? Right after this. Everything seems to be going up in price right now. I mean, groceries are through the roof. The Bank of Canada has been raising interest rates in an attempt to bring inflation under control. Houses are much less affordable than they used to be. I mean, how does the average person like you and I survive in the current economic climate? Well, guys, I don't claim to have all of the answers, but what I can tell you are 3 important facts that make Calgary much more affordable than other major Canadian centers. The Provincial Sales Tax. Guys, those words drive anger into the hearts and minds of Albertans. Now I can tell you, we don't have a provincial sales tax here in Alberta, and that differs from all the other provinces in Canada that do have a provincial sales tax in one way, shape, or form. So, for example, I mean, we do pay the GST, which is the Goods and Services Tax set forth by the Canadian government, and that is 5% on any goods and services purchased in Canada, and we all pay that throughout Canada. But each province governs whether or not they have a PST or provincial sales tax. So for example, in Ontario, they have an 8% PST or provincial sales tax. Now, that's charged over and above the 5% provincial sales or government sales tax that all Canadians pay. Okay, and that's a huge expense. Let's look at British Columbia. They pay a 7% provincial sales tax over and above the 5% goods and services tax charged by the government of Canada. So as you can imagine, that really bites into your spending power that you have with your dollar that you've worked hard to earn. But in Alberta, we don't have that. So you can imagine how much further our dollar goes here in our province. Inflation has been high across Canada for a little while now, and the government of Canada, or rather the Bank of Canada, I should say, has been raising interest rates in an attempt to bring inflation under control by cooling the spending habits of Canadians. Now, I can tell you this is hard on all of us as Canadians, and what I'm going to share with you here isn't to make anyone feel better or worse. It's just the way it is right now. But we are starting to see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, and so we are hopeful that the inflationary measures put in place are all that has to be done right now, and that we'll see success at the end of the road here. Now, as you can imagine, inflation differs from province to province. Some provinces have higher inflationary numbers, while other provinces have lower inflation. And then, of course, Canada, from all these numbers, has an average as to what inflation is throughout Canada. And, historically speaking, the inflation in Alberta does trail the inflationary numbers in Canada, meaning our inflation here in Alberta is a little bit less than the average inflation throughout Canada. So that means we are just a little more comfortable here with what's been happening with inflation. Slightly. Everything has been going up in price, and in Alberta, specifically Calgary actually, even home prices have been increasing here. Now, I'm not going to go into detail here as to what's driving the market and what's causing prices to increase here in Calgary. If you want to learn about that, check out some of my earlier videos, and I go quite in depth as to what's driving the market here in our city. But what I can tell you is, comparatively speaking, when we look at other major Canadian centers, Calgary is by far more affordable. So let's consider this. For example, according to the Canadian Real Estate Association, the average benchmark price for a detached home in the city of Toronto is $1,345,000. That is the average benchmark price for a detached home there. And again, according to the Canadian Real Estate Association, the average benchmark price of a detached home in Vancouver is over $2 million. That's right, I feel like I'm on Austin Powers. $2 million. Guys, that's a huge chunk of change. I don't know who can afford that. Certainly not me. And let's compare it to what's happening here in Calgary. So yes, our prices have been increasing. But our benchmark price, according to the Calgary Real Estate Association, is currently $696,100 for a detached home as of the latest stats at the end of September 2023. Now, do the math. I mean, that is a huge savings when you look at the other major Canadian centers. And that means Calgary is by far more affordable. So like I said, guys, if you are considering a move to Calgary or one of the bedroom communities and you would like some assistance to purchase a home, feel free to send me a text, an email, a phone call. My information is below. I will definitely get back to you so you can start living your life in Calgary, Alberta.